Well, all of us are trying to take mindful steps for healthy eating. Do we know the right process? That is the topic for our session today. I am excited to introduce Rashonda Thornton, one of the top three dietitians from St. Louis area. Rashonda has a master's in human nutrition, a BS in biology. She is owner of Better Vessel Nutrition from St. Louis. She's also a TEDx speaker who has about 80 plus segments on Fox News in St. Louis. She's author of Play to Win, The Food Fight, and a podcast host, Dietitian Against Diets. Welcome, Rashonda.
Yes, hi, and thank you, Amita, and welcome. Hello to everyone out there.
Great, so let's get going.
Yes.
All of us, yes, well, all of us are living the diet life. I changed my diet like 3 times already. So what do we do?
Yeah, and especially with given these unfortunate times right now, we're also trying to figure out a way to recreate our healthy living in light of just the COVID and just having limitations. So even though there are many topics that I can go over and I would love to in the future, but I really feel like right now is a moment to help us to learn this is the moment to actually learn how to be more mindful. And so I coined myself as the dietitian against diets, not necessarily the diet, because our body needs certain diets as far as what we need to eat for our health, but just the more sort of diet mentality. And Amita, as you see on there, I have a picture of just a bunch of hanging cages. And that picture depicts, how people feel when they live the diet life, which is the idea of being in a diet, which means you feel limited, you feel like you have to sacrifice, you have to give something up. No one's really happy when they're in a diet. So it really feels like you're kind of stuck in a cage. And so that's where the example of like the bird cages come from, because diets just kind of keeps us feeling confined. And we really don't feel like just freedom and just making, being happy in how we're eating. And we feel like we have to struggle just to trying to change our body to be healthier. So on the next slide, instead of thinking of the diet life, when it comes to nutrition, I try to help people change their perspective and look at living a life of enrichment. So as you see, there's a beautiful picture of a juicy pomegranate. It's summertime. It's probably one of the best tasting fruits right now, but it's just the beauty of it and the idea of let's transition the way we think and how we feel and start implementing ways of eating for more enrichment. And when I say enrichment, that means when it comes to how we eat, there's not a one-way highway. There are the 5-10 lane highway and many ways and many roads to how we can eat healthy. A lot of times we don't take those roads because we don't know how, or we think we have to subject ourselves to a conformed system or diet just to get there when it comes to our weight and our health. And so in the last part about enriching life, when you enrich, you grow. So enrichment is about growing. And guess what? Growth can't be changed. We can't expedite our ability to age. We can't expedite our ability to learn. We have to take time into growth. So when it comes to learning how to eat healthy, allow yourself time to grow and learn and allow you to change in a more of an enriching way. And so the next slide. And Amita, please jump into this as you want.
Thank you. Now, I was just trying to understand what exactly do you mean by partner versus adversary?
Yeah, you know what? And I come to find, so as a dietitian, I have a private practice and I work with people individually with their nutrition. So over the years of working with people, I really find it's not about, tell them how many calories or, what's the health benefits of certain foods. It's actually that relationship part that I feel people have. And one of the things I realized that we don't really recognize what kind of relationship we have with food. And you have to ask yourself, if you're getting around like your favorite meal, your favorite dish, and it may not be in line with your diet, you feel anxious, you feel upset, you feel like you're lacking something, which doesn't make you feel good. And that type of relationship at that moment is an adversarial relationship. And so since we have an adversarial relationship with food, we feel like we're always fighting food, fighting our weight. So it's like we're battling it and not really realizing it. So instead of recognizing first that you may have an adversarial relationship if you feel those ways, but then start to realize, I have to eat. I can't opt out of eating. So if I'm going to eat, and I'm going to eat pretty much the rest of my life, food is going to be with me for the rest of my life. Let's change that relationship and create a partnership with food. And when you have a partnership with anything in life, you flourish, you thrive. And so looking at food as a partner, recreating a relationship with that will allow you to kind of go back and have that enriching life, bringing in foods that's good for your health, good for your body. And you find that is what helps you and makes you better. So from my perspective, that's what's called a partnership. So recognize an adversary relationship and then start to curate it and turn into more of a partnership with your food. So that's kind of where that comes from.
That's a very, very interesting way to think about having a partnership with the food that you eat. I never thought like that before.
Yeah, it's just one of those concepts. It's just a moment where before we can just act on something or follow something, we got to feel like, how do we feel with it? Is it serving us? How we feel emotionally, mentally? And then we can decide what kind of relationship that is. I'll be really quick with this slide. I have these images. I'm big on imagery. Images tell the story. So these crutches represent what we lean on. We lean on crutches as we're developing, as we get better, but the idea of crutches are we can walk on our own 2 feet and we don't need crutches anymore. We're numbers when it comes to calories and the scale, and systems when it comes to diets. We lean on systems, we lean on numbers, we lean on these things because we feel like that's what's going to help us to walk. But the problem is we don't let go of them. We continue to lean on these objective features, thinking that that's what's going to help us. And if you lean on something for too long, it enables you to really not thrive. So when it comes to learning how to live without looking at the scale all the time, learning how to not feel like you have to count every calorie or every point, that's where the enrichment part comes, where you learn to just eat for your health, eat the amount that your body needs, and then like crutches, you won't need them anymore. So that's where that concept comes from.
That's very interesting. And I think, nowadays, all of us have all these gadgets that minute by minute, second by second is measuring our human body, our human emotions. So all of us are obsessed with diet, counting the calories. So what should we do? The mindset.
And like you just said, we're just surrounded. We got it to where we look on your iPhone or whatever, it tells you how many minutes you're on social media. Every life evolves around like these tallies. And I think that just when you focus on a number or tallying something, you're distracted, you're not connected to, how do I feel about this food? How do I feel about the amount that I'm eating? Is it something that's best for my health, or can I just put it to the side for now? We don't even think anymore because we're depending on those systems. So in order for us to really start changing the way we eat and leaving that diet life, it's about, the first step is changing the mindset. And for me, I can tell you all day long which food has the most fiber, which fruits has the least amount of sugar, what healthy fats is the best for your body. I think we know that now, but we're still not acting upon that. And so in order for us to make those executions, we have to change the mindset. So that's why I'm so big on using that as your foundation of change, because if you start changing your mindset, you start changing your actions. So the first step, as you see on the slide, is when I talk about the mindset, don't think about always I have to take away from my food to be healthy. No, you're actually adding to your plate to be healthy. You're adding vegetables, you're adding a variety of natural whole foods. You're adding to your repertoire, your Rolodex of options. So when you're making your healthy choices, it's not about taking this out, taking that out. You're actually adding more value to your plate. And the byproduct of adding is that some things will fall off. You start drinking more water, you may not drink as much soda. You start bringing in more fresh fruits for your snacks, you stop eating less chips. So it's not about taking the chips out, just start adding new things on, and then some of those other things just slowly find their way off your plate naturally. So the idea is really learning how to add and not to subtract. And I would love to go through all these different points, but I think out of these three, the most important one I would say is your mindset. I have a different perspective for me than when I look at nutrition versus food. I look at food as what we put in our mouth, depending on our mood, depending on the price, depending on the convenience, how it smells. We choose to put that into our body depending on those factors. But when it comes to nutrition is intentional. You're thinking through, you're intending to, no one just decide, I just want a salad. No, they're intending to have a salad because they want the nutrients out of it. So nutrition is more intentional. Food is just kind of something that we're not connected to fill some sort of need that we have. And another way, if people question, I still don't know the difference. I say, well, next time you go to a fast food restaurant or a gas station, are you going to order food or nutrients? And I think clearly you'll be able to know the difference, right? So just learn that nutrition is intentional and food is just something you don't connect to food, you connect it to nutrition. So just again, it's one of those mindset pieces. I like using analogies.
I love the way you're describing it. That's not how normal people think. We just think in a different way. Like you said about the addition, but we think of subtraction, not the addition. That's what I say. Oh, what should I stop eating so that I start looking thin? Or that's how people think. What
do I take away to get this look?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yep. And I only have 3, just to give you guys a little bit of heads up. I have 3. So there's a second one is, we always talk about building new habits, breaking the habits, building habits. Well, we have to start building mental habits first. Again, it's all about the mental. Especially, Amita, I'm assuming that you may have kiddos or family members. As adults, we are caregivers, we're parents, we help others, we do for others. So guess what? A lot of times we take the back seat of our life, we take the back seat of our health. And one of the biggest pieces is learning how to put yourself first. Not only put yourself first, but be okay with putting yourself first. And I think as adults, we have a hard time doing that. We feel like we're taking from others if we're being selfish. Putting yourself first means taking the time to make that fresh wrap instead of just grabbing a burger through the fast food restaurant. Putting yourself first is, stop waking up about 20 minutes earlier every day and putting on a pair of shoes and going out for a quick walk. That's all enriching. That's all for yourself. So be okay with learning how to start putting yourself first in those aspects of your health and be okay with it. And then, with anything, it takes practice and it takes time. So adding practice, which means you keep doing it over and over again. You're not going to get it right the first time. You may not get it right the 5th time. If you're new at anything, it takes practice to get used to it. And guess what? That takes time to practice. So when you're practicing putting yourself first, when you're practicing changing your mindset, when you're practicing adding fruits and vegetables to your plate, just know it takes more time to duplicating that. And it takes patience with yourself, practice, and that equals progress. Not perfection, because we're taught perfect is what we're striving for. No one's meant to be perfect. So just don't feel that pressure needed to be perfect. But just know if you're progressing, which means you did better than the last time. You did better than the last time. So just combine patience, and progress to make patience and practice to make progress. The last but not least is, we got to start changing our language, change the way we talk. If you know whatever words they say represents how they think, right? So we start changing our words, which represents the change of how we think. So typical steps that you hear from any healthcare professional, dietitian, you'll hear eat more fresh fruits, drink more water, plan daily activity. We all know that. We know those are top tier things. Those are typical steps, but change your language too. Instead of just eat fresh foods, start thinking about eat what my body needs. Instead of just drink more water, drink what my body needs. Instead of just playing daily activity, move because my body deserves it. So start changing your language, changing your reason why you're making these choices versus let me just go through the rigmarole of the general thing of eating fresh fruits. No, eat what my body needs. Move my body the way it's supposed to be moved. The very last one, it says stay away from desserts and alcohol. Now I do that on purpose because biggest thing is you want to eat healthy, you got to stay away from those things like that. And we know we love those things. I look at it as a way of no food is ever bad. It's just you decide how much do you really need and you create your balance. So again, if you want your desserts and your alcohol and you know it doesn't serve your health, decide to change the type of desserts you're having, share the dessert with someone else. You've always heard that before. Change your alcohol, minimize your alcohol, have alcohol with water, kind of do a swap outs where you're alternating. So the whole idea is to find balance. Again, let's not just take everything out of our life. Let's bring on new things into our life, and balance can be one of them. So those are the 3 top mindful, actionable steps that I pretty much live on and try to tell others, Anita.
I think that's very, very useful. No, I think what we want to talk about is the steps, what not to do, not to take. Yeah.
So I'm telling you all this good stuff. Let me tell you what not to do.
We need the bad stuff too.
Yeah, here we go. So, and just so you know, I'll talk about some things to do. But okay, so we know it's very clear, but if you're trying to incorporate a healthy lifestyle, let's just know what to just kind of decide. It's just not worth it. Along with my goals, it's just not worth it. And that is anything that's prepackaged, frozen, that's high level of sodium, high level of preservatives. The nutrients are not natural, and it's not nutrient dense. I said 3 culprits. I put in parentheses, and that may be a topic within itself. It's the fast food. FF means fast food. And the 3 culprits in all fast foods is sodium, fats, and sugar. They swim in all our fast foods. That's why we keep going back. But it's also what increases our health disparities. While we, have heart disease, while we have diabetes, where obesity comes from. It comes from all those different ingredients, and those 3 culprits lies in your fast food. So fast foods are getting better. I give it to you. There are some great fast food restaurants that have great fresh food. So I'm not saying they're not good. Just knowing how to pick them, but also picking them. Eating once a day is not a way that we can fuel our body. Our body needs nutrients throughout the day. So starving yourself and just saying I'm going to eat once a day is not going to be your answer to weight loss, health. You're actually going to do the opposite. You're going to be malnourished and your metabolism is going to slow down to a 0. So it's the opposite of what you want. And never wait till you starve. Always make sure you have snacks with you. Don't skip a meal, because when you skip a meal, you double up what you're eating the next time because you're ravenous, you're starving. So don't put yourself in a position where you're going to overeat and then you're going to feel bad that you overate. Keep snacks with you. Never skip breakfast. It's your most important meal of the day. That's a whole nother section within itself I can go deeper into, but it just starts your day off. So always have breakfast, even if it's a handful of blueberries, a piece of fruit. I don't care what it is at this moment, but just bring something into your system. And never chase calories. Don't try to make up for something that you overate and try to exercise it off. Don't eat something heavy and then starve yourself for the rest of the day. Don't try to chase calories. That puts you back into that diet mindset. And the last but not least, stop kicking the can. Stop procrastinating. Stop waiting for the perfect time. We can't wait till after a vacation, after a birthday, after some event, after the pandemic. No, the time is to start now. Because guess what? Every year there's going to be a birthday. Every year there's going to be some sort of occasion. So we can't wait until after that time to decide to start eating healthy. Go ahead and start now and stop kicking the can.
That's really good. I was just going to comment on the intermittent fasting. We hear so much about it nowadays, right? So could you comment on that just a bit?
Sure. Yeah. So the intermittent fasting it's just not for everyone, and it's something that is kind of a short thing that is, for what it's worth, intermittent. It's meant to be like a short way of eating. It's not meant to be like a long-term thing. So a lot of times people use that as a jump start to lose some weight or whatever. But the problem is there is no plan afterwards. Once you lose, let's say, the 20 pounds during intermittent fasting, how are you going to get your body physiologically back into that process of learning how to digest appropriately once you get off the intermittent fasting? So when it comes to intermittent fasting, it is a moment of where your body's able to thrive off its residual storage. But also you have to think, can I live my life constantly going on and going off and putting your body back and forth every day? So over time, I feel like it's not a long-term solution. And you haven't really learned how to live and eat after intermittent fasting. So it has its pros and it has its cons. So it really depends on the person, what their goals are, and what they want long-term for themselves.
Sure. So taking us now to winning steps to take after this.
Yeah, I think it's almost the last thing. We're almost wrapped up. That was quick. So winning stuff. So I talk about stuff not to take, and I talk about stuff to take. And the reason why I want to it's a reason called winning. The TED Talk that Anita mentioned it's called Winning Your Food Fight. The book that I wrote is called Winning How to Win the Food Fight. So this whole concept of winning is we want to feel like we're winning. We don't always feel like we're the loser when it comes to our life and our health. So that's why I call this winning steps. You want to feel like you're winning this. The winning steps is the whole goal is you want to increase your metabolism. To increase your metabolism, you're burning more calories and you're burning more fat calories. So the idea of starvation or eating once a day is counter to increasing your metabolism. So what you want to do is learn how to increase your metabolism, because that's what's going to increase your ability to burn calories. Carbs are actually not our foes. We look at them as an enemy, but we can learn how to use carbs to our benefit. For those who are exercising and those who are working out, The best time to have a carbohydrate is actually before you work out, because it's fueling for your body, it's fueling for your physical activity. Your body needs carbohydrates to best use for your activity. So use your carbs to your benefit. Have it before your workouts if you're concerned about your carb intake. Protein. Our body needs protein. Our body is built off of protein. It's bone with muscle wrapped around it. So for our bone health, not for our bone health, for our body's health, our organ health, our immunity, we do need a constant influx of protein into our system every day when it comes to our food. When I say constant, like throughout your day, you want to have something with protein in it. Doesn't necessarily have to be an animal protein. It can definitely be a plant-based protein, but just understanding we need protein for our body's health and for our body's growth. And water. We all know water is like, it's the easiest thing to do, but it's the hardest thing to remember to do. I always say, just buy you a 30-ounce bottle, buy one nice 30-ounce bottle that you like, and just make a goal to drink 2 of it, 2 a day. That way you're not thinking too hard. You don't have to count so many bottles of 16-ounce waters that you're drinking. Just buy 2 30s and just make sure you have a goal to drink it twice a day. Veggies, veggies is not just a healthy choice. It's what gives your body minerals, nutrients. It doesn't give your body any calories, and that's great. But understand it gives you so much more when it comes to just your body's ability to develop. So making sure veg is not just a healthy choice, it is a choice that's needed for your body's health. So try not to skip your veggies. Portion, think about eat the amount of food your body needs. You know, if you want that pizza, if you want that burger, you know, ask yourself how much of that burger or how many slices of pizza do my body need versus let me just have all of it because it's here. So start thinking a little bit differently about what is your body needs when it comes to portion sizes. When I talk about snacks, think about snacks as coal in a furnace. Your furnace is your metabolism, right? So you're going to shovel coal in throughout the day to keep that fire going. So when I talk about snacks, go light with snacks, you know, have, you know, like the bean chips, the fava beans, or have like some popcorn, or have some fruit, or have some nuts, a little bit of nuts. Have this light snacks throughout your day, and that's going to keep the fueling system going, which keeps your metabolism going. And last but definitely not least, is learning how to trust yourself. And again, if we lean on systems, we lean on numbers, we lean on diets, we don't really trust how we feel or what we think. So we have to start learning how to trust ourselves. That way we know what's good for our body, what best serves our body, and what best serves our health. So learn to trust yourself.
Well, that's, I think, a lot of tips for healthy eating.
Yeah.
It's a short segment. We want to introduce Rashanda with starting with the steps for healthy eating, and then in future, you know, let us know what kind of topics you like to see that Rashanda can cover specific topics, right, Rashanda? That's what we're talking about.
You can go into definitely more detailed, pinpointed topics, but sometimes it's always good just to start with the way we think, and then now we'll be ready to learn a little bit more about different things. So yeah.
Great. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for all the viewers who are watching us and who might watch later. We will be bringing new topics, and Rashanda would be talking on a specific diets or specific medical ailments or whatever others that you would like us to bring to you. Any last comments from you, Rashanda, before we wrap up?
Last comment is that when you want to live a lifestyle of healthy eating, just know that it takes time. So give yourself grace and just focus on just making yourself better every day.
Yes, that's a great thought. Well, let us know if you have any feedback on care@nourishtalk.com. Share the video, and thank you so much. Signing off now. Have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.